A day in the life. Welcome to my kitchen. Here's the life juice. Wake up, juice. Good morning, Shelby. Good morning, Henry. Sweet fur babies. Gotta feed 'em. They're happy. Now I gotta take my pills, do my stuff, do my blood sugar. Oop, hi. Got a rage bolus. Get that blood sugar down. Drink the coffee. Listen to some tunes because it's important. Then I fell asleep with my makeup on last night, so gotta take that off. Kiss my babe goodbye. The books I am reading and my coffee. Gotta start reading. Henry being cute. My OnlyFans set up. Gotta do some photo shoots today. Henry's helping. Got my makeup did and all in my outfit for my OnlyFans shoot. Now I gotta edit the pictures and be pissed off at Photoshop. Reading some more. So I'm two chapters in. Refreshing my memory on this. So far, our main character, who is known as Sparrowhawk by the second chapter, he is a young boy who happens to have a talent for magic. His aunt is the village witch, and she kind of teaches him some stuff. But he's a wild and prideful child. And one day, while his village is being attacked by a group of bad people, I can't remember the name of the culture already, his village is being attacked by conquerors, essentially, and he summons fog to save his people because it's like 18 against 100. And his village only has 18 men who stayed and who were willing to fight to protect the village. So he kind of does this enchantment where he enchants the fog to look like there are ghosts and things attacking these bad guys who are coming to kill everyone and take over the village and rape and pillage and, you know, the things. So he does it successfully, but he basically stops having a personality for a little while and everybody's worried about it. But news of what he had accomplished, not being a mage or wizard officially, kind of gets around, and a mage comes and heals the boy and figures out what was going on. His energy had been spent. And so he takes him on as an apprentice, but of course, as a young apprentice, he's prideful. He feels like he's not learning enough fast enough. He gets really mad at the mage because the mage is really a patient, quiet guy, is trying to teach him the value of nature and that sort of thing. And then he accidentally, out of pride, summons a shadow that comes from who knows where. And the mage basically gives him an ultimatum, your pride is too much. He's like, I'd love for you to stay with me, but at this point, you're too prideful for me. And I think you are not going to learn what I need you to learn. So you can either go, you just have to either pick to go with me or to one of the wizarding schools. So in an inner conflict, he spends a few moments pondering it and decides to go to one of the wizarding schools. So his mage drops him off at a boat called the Shadow, which nobody really liked the idea of it being called that. And so they, the young boy, Sparrowhawk, sets off without his master anymore, and really bad storms hit the boat, and they almost miss the island, but because our main character, Sparrowhawk, notices a light in the distance, they end up making it to the island. So thus far, that's the action that's happened. I like in the first two chapters, it's a very short book. Again, I'm planning on reading this whole thing today, but it's a very short book, and it's already gotten a lot of action balanced with backstory kind of intermixed in the first two chapters. So I really appreciated that. Ursula K. Guin is really good at kind of balancing action and character building as well as backstory building. So in the first two chapters, you already get a wealth of information, a wealth of action, and just a really nice, smooth, fast-paced storyline. So I really appreciate that about this book thus far. I'm certainly enjoying it. Gotta go out into my garden, get some vitamin D, and enjoy my flowers. Back to reading. I liked this quote a lot because it describes the main character in his youth very perfectly. But for the most part, he was all work and pride and temper and held himself apart. So he's at school now. And it's kind of going through his studies and what he's learning and the friends and rivals he's making and stuff like that. And there's this one rival named Jasper who's really pissing him off. But Jasper's already a mage by this point. I'm in chapter 4 now. And so he's kind of, his entire school year, he's just like spitefully trying to figure out how to outdo Jasper, which is pretty interesting. You could just kind of watch him seething. Okay, so chapter 4. Rival Jasper and like Sparrowhawk, also known as Ged, end up having a wizard's duel where Jasper flippantly says, "You know what? Prove you're better than me. Summon a dead soul, basically. Like summon someone from the dead." So Ged, of course, goes and tries to summon this thing, and this dark shadow creeps out of the other world, I guess, or like nothingness, essentially, and attacks him. So he's badly wounded. All the archmages from the school have to come save him. All of his friends and stuff scatter, and he's basically like stuck in the medical ward for a while. And he's like struggling to do spell work and stuff after that. Jasper and his friend Vetch end up going off and becoming mages or sorcerers or whatever, and like basically he's so far behind after he finally wakes up. And of course all the archmages say like, "We don't know what you summoned, but it's gonna haunt you forever." So he's dealing with a lot of guilt and shame from that, but he's continuing his studies. He's slowly getting better. He's slowly kind of coming to terms with what he's done. The old archmage, having saved him, ended up dying from using up his power, so a new archmage is there, and they kind of like speak prophecies and things over him and stuff like that over time. And so he kind of goes through the process of continuing to become a wizard, and he's very jaded and kind of unsure about the whole thing since he, you know, committed this atrocity by releasing some unknown creature onto the world and not knowing exactly where it's gone off to now. He lives kind of in dread, so he finishes things at the school. He has his little animal companion who's super cute that is returned to him after he's been sick by his friend Vetch, who also shares his true name with him. And they have this really cute like friendship bonding moment that's super, super sweet and kind of tragic. Just because, you know, Vetch is going off into the world and Ged is just kind of like, "Okay, I guess I'll just stay here." So there's all that. And yeah, so it kind of concludes with Ged graduating, or Sparrowhawk graduating, and going off into the world, not knowing where their shadow is, and going to his first job and all this stuff, and just like trying to kind of cope with his past and the things he did. So chapter 4 was very eventful. Lots of action, lots of drama, lots of childish pissing contests between mages and wizards and apprentices and things like that. So that was a very eventful chapter. I'm very excited for the next couple of chapters. So be right back. Lunch. Bowl. Oatmeal. Brown sugar. Aggressive butter. Have some iced tea. Blood sugar's down finally. Eating my oatmeal. It's really hot, but it's delicious. Gotta stay healthy and happy. Getting ready for D&D tonight. Gotta put everything in the bag to take over to my friends. Gotta check on all my social media and update everybody and see what's going on there. Reading in the bathroom, reading in bed to Henry, who is a very good listener. He likes reading. And then I'm on the couch, the other couch, the papasan chair. But I have this beautiful reading nook right here. And you know what? I never read there. Got to do some more photo editing and email responding, reading while things are uploading. Aggressively drinks my iced tea. Chug, chug, chug. A lot of my computer work is working on my Etsy SEO, putting up pictures. I'm working on my OnlyFans, answering emails between Greg and I about Telltale stuff, editing videos, and adding and uploading things to YouTube and Facebook, and scheduling a lot of our social media posts as needed. Refill my iced tea, but of course, Shelby does this creepy stare at me the entire time I'm drinking it. Weirdo. Then I decide I'm hungry, so I'm gonna have a second lunch, shamelessly. And then I hear that we got a package, so I go to the door and I get the packages off the porch. And there's two! Then I stop being excited because they're both for my husband. I hope one of them's a present. Book's getting really good. I had another quote I wanted to share with you guys. So this is in the chapter The Dragon of Pendor. So he goes to this island where he's tasked with protecting the island from these dragons. And while he's there, one of his friends ends up having a very sick little boy, and he has to go into death to try and seek the soul of this little boy who is dying, only to encounter the shadow waiting on the border. So he ends up almost dying himself, and he doesn't end up saving the little boy. But he decides after he finally comes to and heals from his illness that he's going to go seek out the dragons and just destroy them right away instead of waiting for them to show up at the island. And so while he's traveling, he has this thought, and I just love this quote. At least he sought this danger of his own will, and the nearer he came to it, the more sure he was that for this time at least, for this hour perhaps before his death, he was free. I love that quote. That's such a great moment where he's just like, he's overcoming his shadow. He's overcoming these obstacles, and he's going to do something about it. He's focusing on this change, not just for himself, but for anybody he chooses to help in the future. So he's like making this effort to go find this dragon and then go try and deal with whatever this shadow being is that he released when he was young. So I think this is really a great turning point in the book for this. That's in the Dragon of Pendor chapter. This is page 85. Super excited. Okay, just finished chapter 6, 5 and 6. So he defeats the dragon. You'll have to read it to find out how. It was pretty badass. I enjoyed it. Killed a bunch of his spawn too. But so this shadow being is still pursuing him. So he decides he's going to go back to the island, let everybody know that he's protected them from the dragons, and then he's going to sail on back to the island where his school was, because it's a heavily magically protected island and he feels like he's going to be safe there. But once he gets in a boat and with this master seaman, the closer they get to the island of Roke is how I think you pronounce it. The protective magical winds from Roke keep blowing them back towards the island they came from. And he realizes it's because the evil shadow that he released is following him closer now than ever. And it's protecting the island from that evil that's pursuing him. So he decides to head back. And he decides he's just going to take the next boat to wherever it's going. That's not not the island of his school. So he does, and he starts heading into this other island. He has some weird shipmates that he meets. He's helping assist the ship by being a rower to kind of pay his way on the trip, and there's this one in particular who's kind of been a D-bag to him. So he's kind of avoided him and stuff, but once he gets to the island, he asks, hey, I'm trying to get somewhere to like this hall or some kind of like, it sounds like some kind of nobility's hall or something like that he knows of, that he learned from a merchant on his way on his travels in between places. And the guy who's a D-bag to him says, I'm heading that way. And he's like, well, shit, I guess I gotta go with this guy. So he does. And it turns out the guy's possessed by the shadow. So right now he's running through the woods in the middle of winter with snow pelting him, with this thing pursuing him, and he just thrust himself into some kind of light that he's unsure of because he's so fatigued he doesn't know what the light is, if it's a gateway, if it's a door, whatever. He just sees the light and he throws himself at it, and that's where we're left off. So far, so good. Really excited to see what's next. Really fatigued, so snuggling with Henry for a little bit. He's a really good snuggler. Super soft kitty boy. And then Shelby decides she wants to start an OnlyFans. And I'm following her mama's footsteps. She is just being so cute, so gave her some good pets. She's such a sweet girl. She's so old. She's 21. Ugh, can't stand how old she is now. Honey comes home, kisses. Going off for D&D with friends, talking politics in the car. You don't need to hear about that. Making sub sandwiches at my friend's house for D&D. Got my setup. Got my sandwich. My potato salad. Got my sweet dice and my sweet dice bags. Lost 2 of my fingernails, my false nails. But we got our dice ready. Everything's set and ready to go. We're just starting things up. Love my little setup. Love my little dice box. Everybody's stoked with our Mountain Dew and beverages and little dice and things. We're having a grand old time here. Got the little party guy in the middle of my screen here, or side of my screen. Rolling. And yeah, I did not do well on that one. Then came home and greeted the kitties. Shelby found her box again in the kitchen. Henry was hanging out in our bedroom, so he came to greet us. Put on my jams, how to sleep with a cat, because I'm a crazy cat lady. And then we're going to get some water to hydrate after all the soda and stuff I just drank at D&D. Going to take off my makeup, wash my face. Gotta scrub it real good and exfoliate. So yeah, gonna do that. Get that real in there. Gonna brush my teeth because good hygiene's important. Get some mouthwash up in there. Yeah, good hygiene. Then we're gonna snuggle with kitties and hang out in bed for a bit. So I had intentions to finish reading A Wizard of Earthsea tonight, but D&D was so fun and so eventful, and I am so tired. So I'm going to call it a night early, and I will give you more info on the book tomorrow. So, good night, guys.